Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the final match of the Oceania Sevens for day one. It's happening about an hour later than it was first anticipated. That is due to the lightning strikes that were happening earlier on in the fixtures. So that is why we have got this game here. But it is taking place an hour later, and the exciting part is it is still taking place. New Zealand versus Fiji. Now, these two sides have had some incredible battles over the year. Few experienced players scattered throughout these two sides, but also a few young guys who this will be their first opportunity to go head-to-head when these two great rivals do take to the field. But looking through at the starting lineups, I'll be honest, we do not know them just yet, as New Zealand and Australia are still going head-to-head in the women's game. But looking through at these squads, they are looking very good for the Fijians. I mean, Josefa Talatholo, he was a brilliant player in the last game. Another player who really did step up. I mean, we saw Valawa, I should say, but he is one of those guys that I think will be on the circuit for a very long time in the future. He does seem to have a lot of potential for New Zealand. Of course, you got a few of those experienced veterans, Dylan Collier, to name one, Tim Mickelson, Narohi McGarvey Black. You've also got those young guys, Cody Vai, Shay Clark, looking to have that real impact for Fiji. Ever Fiji, says Viniana. And also we've got the Tosa Viti Totso, play a game and respect the rules, Fiji all the way, says Lawson. And I'm back, says Ryan, welcome back. And who will win? So New Zealand come in as slight favourites for this contest. But I have a feeling that Fiji, throughout the first about minute or two, we will know exactly how dangerous the Fijians can be. And that seems to be the case anytime these two sides go head-to-head. It could be quite close because of the rain, may make it a little bit slipperier, maybe not quite as free-flowing as both sides would like it to be. But I have a feeling they'll be meeting not just for this contest, but also for one later in the Oceania Sevens competition. Oh, okay, there was actually a knock-on from Australia. What does that mean? I think it's going to be full-time 21-21 in the New Zealand versus Australia game. Now, in normal circumstances, a draw would mean that they have to play extra time. But because we are in that scenario of these are only being pretty much the group stage matches before the playoffs, it means that they do not have the golden point time. So it means that this next game between Fiji and New Zealand is just around the corner, ladies and gents. But do let me know your score predictions for this matchup. I'll be honest, 21-21 between Australia and New Zealand in the women's side of things. That might not be a mile off what we see in this men's matchup between the two sides. I can see them both taking it into deep water and not just on the sidelines where it was absolutely pouring earlier on in Brisbane. Like I mentioned, we had an hour where we had to stop play due to the lightning strikes, due to all of the weather and atmospheric conditions, with these two sides making their way onto the field. It's going to be a great way to close out day one. I should mention day two and day three are still just around the corner. We are covering day two from the evening onwards with a few different games that we are going to be going. How's the cricket going, says Ryan? I haven't actually looked at it since the last stream. At the moment, Afghanistan are 121 for 6, so they are struggling a little bit. And yeah, they definitely don't want to lose those next few wickets in a quick hurry, or else South Africa will be right on top of them. I feel like Fiji, I want to see their starting lineup. I want to know who they bring out there on the field, because if they go with a strong bench, you know, you got Kiminelli Rasaku, you got Nadovalo, Ioane Teba, Waisia Natungu, Vakunarabili. I don't believe we actually saw him throughout the first contest for the Fijians, or not a huge amount of time with him, but Jeremiah Matana was the man who actually stepped up in that scenario. They are about to show the starting lineups, although they have been shown to change throughout this Rugby Sevens competition, so we will take them with a grain of salt, depending on who they show on the screen. But they are just showing the first game for Fiji. They were versing Niue. They were able to get up to, I believe it was about that 46 points or somewhere around there, scoring a lot of points in the process. In fact, it was 47 points to 5. In the end, it looks like the semi-finals will be India versus New Zealand and Australia versus South Africa, says Williams. So yeah, two massive matches just around the corner for the Cricket World Cup. Of course, that is dependent on England, though, and whether or not they are able to stop Pakistan from batting first and then bowling the English out for a cheap amount of runs. But I'm hoping that that shouldn't happen. And then if that is the case, then yeah, New Zealand versus India, home tournament for the Indians, and they will certainly be a tough side to beat when it takes place. But the two captains now, Talatholo, as well as it is Dylan Collier, both leading their sides out for the last time today. They've been waiting patiently an extra hour because of the rain, but now getting the chance for their second hit out of the day. Now, New Zealand, they had a decent performance in their first contest as well, managing to get themselves the win over Oceania. Players who have made their way onto the field, it is the whole group at the moment, but as soon as some of the players make their way off, we'll be able to let you know who is starting this match. That is one thing that's been slightly a letdown in some regards, is the amount of times that we haven't been able to see graphics for who's actually in the starting lineups, who are the players in the squads, everything along those lines. If Australia win the toss, we're walking over South Africa. Says Chronic Underachieving, and evening Hamish. Says Thar, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. The last game of the evening, of course, but we have got the URC tomorrow morning taking place between the Cardiff Blues and the Bulls for the URC. That will be an 8:35 a.m. kickoff here in New Zealand. So a 9:35 p.m. kickoff if you are, or AM kickoff, I should say. No, it is PM if you are in South Africa, but New Zealand, they'll be kicking off from right to left. I see that Ndovalo is going to be starting this match alongside it, of course. Kuria Rocketlee Soa, one of the main starters for New Zealand. They've been playing over recent times, but he's kicked it off about 15 metres. Dylan Collier tries to slap that ball back. You've got to be very careful under the high ball, because if you take out the player, you do end up with that yellow card. But Batita Ringa, another player who did extremely well throughout that first match, Vailawa, now passes it across. Whether or not the wet conditions affect the way that these two sides play, I think New Zealand will try and play a bit more structured. Fiji will just hit and hope and do what they normally do, which is just be dangerous when they're out there on the park. The ball is rolled out the back, stolen there for New Zealand though, and now pinning his ears back. He will get the try, or does he? Oh, Moses Leo was close to the touchline, but I believe he has got that first try of the contest now for New Zealand. He made it difficult. We will quickly go like this. New Zealand 0 and Fiji 0, although now we have to, of course, update New Zealand's score to 5 points to 0. Does he? Yeah, no, he's done well. He kept those hands and the feet in the field of play. 5-0 for New Zealand in the early stages of this matchup. A tough kick from the touchline from Akulia Rocketlee Soa. Hit it away to the right-hand side and now make the score 5 points to 0. Now, I should mention all throughout these Sevens commentaries, the scoreboard has not been working, so we have got the actual score down the bottom. We'll be updating it as we go. It was a decent bit of an effort there from Vailawa to be able to stop him. Just ran out of space, unfortunately, down the touch side. But Akulia Rocketlee Soa to kick it off again. Hopefully my voice lasts. It's starting to get a bit scratchy. Going back to Jeremiah Matana. Did start in the last contest for the Fijians as well. And speaking of starters, here comes Kimanali Rasaku. Big fin to the face of Sam Dixon, who now kicks it in behind with the grubber. Kulia Rocketlee Soa will be back to be able to cover, tackled on the ground there by Fiji. So it does end up as the penalty. Quick tap taken by the youngster Spencer. And it's, of course, Carlos Spencer's boy. Now Regan Ware passes back and behind to Akulia Rocketlee Soa, but the Fijian defence is putting on the pressure. Rocketlee Soa doesn't care if they're in front of him though, because he has broken the line. Batita Ringa showing off the pace. In fact, it was Filippo Bucayaro. Spencer passes one more out to Regan Ware. I don't think he's going to have the pace. In fact, it's Dylan Collier. He's been driven into touch by Josesi Batita Ringa. And that is a try-saving tackle right there. And bro, as Rapping says, Ryan, tell you what, the names are quick. That is for sure. I noticed that before when I was saying them. When there was that grubber kick, I was pretty much going at 1,000 miles an hour. So luckily words were coming out rather than just noises. But it is going to be a penalty to Fiji. Only 5 metres out from their line now. Chance to be able to put this ball into touch. It will be Vailawa, who was able to score himself 2 tries in the last game for the Flying Fijians. But 3 minutes into this contest, we are yet to see a try being scored by either of these two sides. Peyton What? Why'd that say 0-all? New Zealand have scored. I think the scoreboard was confused there, unless, of course, my eyesight... No, New Zealand have got the 5 now on the board. I was going to say we called that try of Moses Leo. Now Filippo Bucayaro gets it over the top to Talafolo. Fiji looking to fire straight back here. 40 metres out from their line. Tackled by Dylan Collier. the more experienced players on the field for New Zealand. They also have Dixon. They also have Regan Ware. Roy McGarvey Black. Tim Mickelson. Oh, that was in a lot of arms there. And the tackle attempt from Regan Ware. New Zealand in through the side. That was Peyton Spencer, so has been penalised. Referee might consider going back for the penalty, although it does look like he's going to say play on. Josefa Talatholo showing off those long limbs of his, trying to break through this New Zealand defence. The passing is a bit rough from Fiji, but now it looks a lot more structured. Going off to the right-hand side. Big fend coming in on Batita Ringa, who just stays in the field of play 40 metres out from their own line here, Fiji, and they continue to try and find that first try of the match. Sam Dixon back there to actually be able to clean that one up. In fact, that was Scott Curry. My apologies there. Bit rusty with the New Zealand names. Do you have water with you for your voice? I do not. My water bottle still looks the same as it did earlier on, which is non-existent almost. But we will be having some water after this so that it does stick around for that little bit longer. That's slapped back by New Zealand. That's very lucky, because if it went forward, he was going to the bin for 2 minutes. Big aggressive step from New Zealand, 40 metres out from the line. Peyton Spencer goes to the short side. Akulia Rokali Soa. Now Dylan Collier, Peyton Spencer again standing on the halfway line trying to find the gap in what is a very strong Fijian defence. And now over the ball, Vailawa. He's given away the penalty. Hi Hamish. And also come on Fiji, says Simran. And also Fiji, says Ryan. And there as well. A little bit slower getting back up to his feet there, Peyton Spencer. Of course, with a lot of these guys, they haven't had a huge amount of game time over the last 3 or 4 months since the World Sevens circuit, so it does hurt when you run into a Fijian player. I haven't experienced it firsthand, but I would assume it's not fun. Now, line out here for Akulia Orokali Soa and the Kiwis. 1 minute remaining in the first half. And Hamish says, Tiff, welcome in, mate. You are doing well once more. Scott Curry, it is challenged by Fiji at line-out time, but the All Black Sevens are able to hang on to it. Now Regan Ware tries to step wrestled down again by Vailawa. He has been absolutely everywhere for the Fijians. It was knocked on by Fiji, so the advantage is in play. Akulia Rokali Soa grubbers it forward. 20 metres out from the line now for New Zealand. Offload from his back up to Dylan Collier. He got outpaced earlier in the contest, but someone who doesn't often get outpaced is Moses Leo, although he's thrown the ball away. And now Fiji with Vailawa. It's a foot race. Curry has been able to cut him off very nicely, but Fiji have all the momentum going for the corner, and he gets there as well. The first try of the match for, I believe it was Viwa Nadolvalo, gets over the try line, and they are back in the fixture. Now, I think we're going to be 5-5 going into halftime by the looks of it, although they might say Fiji scored that just before the 7 minutes, which means there would still be another kickoff, but it was the mistake from the try scorer for New Zealand. Moses Leo gave the ball away to Vailawa, who had men on his inside, men on his outside. It was Nadolvalo pushed towards the corner from Scott Curry, who wasn't quite able to catch him. And also, we're getting any updates on the cricket. At the moment, it is 134 for 6, so 13 more runs than the last time we checked with no wickets falling. The kick is good, and that now gives the Fijians the lead going into halftime, 7 points to 5. A very close fixture between these two teams. And to be honest, I think that's the way it's going to stay by the end of the contest. But Fiji taking their chance. New Zealand have had a majority of possession throughout that first half. Territory as well in the Kiwis' favour. But when Fiji saw that little chance to be able to make the most of it and turn it into a lot of points, they were able to do so. And that is what has made them such a dangerous side. Not just their attack, but the way that they're able to counter-attack when they do get that ball back. Josefa Talatholo given the team chat for the Flying Fijians. 7 minutes remaining of day 1 in the Oceania Sevens. At the moment, it looks like it's going to be Samoa versus Papua New Guinea. That is to confirm a spot in the Paris Olympics. Already qualified New Zealand and Fiji. They qualified earlier on in the year, and they will both be looking forward to the challenge of Paris. Of course, Fiji defending gold medalists every time that they have taken to that podium. They have managed to walk away with the gold around their necks. They want it to be no different. Well, crazy first half. New Zealand could have had 12 are now 2 points behind, says Chronic Underachiever. And where is everyone? Says Ryan. I mentioned about it earlier on, but the Rugby World Cup, it was a blessing and a curse, I guess you could say. It was a blessing because we got to meet so many new people and we got to pretty much talk to people all around the world throughout that competition. The curse of it is now, because we've grown such an audience in Rugby World Cup games, Rugby International games, it means that the Sevens, people probably don't show up anymore. But it is very awesome to still see some of the familiar faces on these Sevens live stream. I've always said it, whether we've got 5 people watching or 500, we're still doing these live streams. So if you do enjoy your Sevens and you do enjoy a bit of a chat, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got there, no tiff no, says Stephen, and there as well. Now, kicking off this one, Fiji will be going from right to left in this matchup. And okay, says Ryan. Waisia Natungu, one of the more experienced players out there on the field for Fiji. I'll be honest, it's a shame to not see Jerry Tawai's name there because of all that he has done for the Fijian Sevens, but it's good to know that they've got the depth coming up through the rankings. Taken early on the field, I believe that was Tapaya Cook-Savage. Has got a new haircut. Well, it's probably the same haircut. It's just blonde now. It's gone through that phase. It's going to be a knock-on from New Zealand, though, on their own 22. Nemani said, go Fiji, go. Now they have got themselves the scrum, only 22 out from New Zealand's line. It's a few nervous faces there. A man on his iPad with the All Black Sevens. I think he was one of the coaches. And he's a little bit worried when you give Fiji an opportunity this close to your line. More times than not, you are giving them a try because they are extremely hard to stop when they get their set play right. New Zealand just getting warned there by the referee. Filippo Bucayaro put the ball in for Fiji. The chance to create a massive attacking scenario. They go to the right-hand side. Filippo Bucayaro finds Waisia Nyath. Oh, I almost said Nyath Delivery, but Waisia Natungu. Awkward offload from Bucayaro, but it's effective. Now some quick stepping from Bakitarenga. Gets it again to Bucayaro. 5 metres out from the line. Finds his offload. Was it a knock-on from Fiji? It was, and it goes into the hands of New Zealand, who kick it downfield to just try and relieve some of that pressure. I'm sure they would have preferred that ball to go into touch, but Fiji now 45 metres out, going for the grubber. Slightly offside was one of the Fijian players, so he had to leave that ball for his teammate. Now 5 metres out from the line, and New Zealand get the knock on. It's mango season, hashtag mango fund, says Jay. And the chat, well, thank you very much, mate. I will have to check to see if they've got our mangoes back in stock. At this stage, it's been a dry winter without the mango train, I do have to say. So hopefully we get them for less than like $8 like they were last year. In fact, while we are at it, while we've got the stoppage, we're going to do a bit of a Google. Because they're right in season at the moment in Australia, aren't they? So all we need is like 1 or 2 to jump onto a ship, head over to New Zealand, and then it's happy days. Moses Leo. Is he going to be replaced by the looks of it? And also they have got Torossi. Fingers crossed, mate, says Jay. Yeah, I think you guys saw my little face light up when we had mango last year. I can't remember if I ate it on live stream or not. Fresh mangoes, R2E2? What does R2E2 mean? Sounds like they're a Star Wars mango. $7. What is R2E2? Product of Australia. Ooh. And they're in season. Right, we're going to have to get them in the cart. Yeah, but what is R2E2? In terms of mangoes. Ready to eat twice? No. Oh, that was a decent guess, I thought, up until the second 2. Last year, inflammation, probably 10. Says Chronic Underachiever, and hopefully says Ryan now passed out wide for New Zealand. Scott Curry. Currently only 2 points difference between these two teams. New Zealand looking for that last minute try that could bump them over the line in this victory. I say last minute, there's still 5 minutes remaining to play. A Cook-Savage, good run for from him straight away in the breakdown. The Fijians, they are dangerous when they get that opportunity, and they have once again won the penalty. Was Nadovalo, the man who started it off with a try, looking to end it off with a try as well. Still trying to work out what R2E2 means. $3.50 over here, expensive also, but not as bad as New Zealand by the sounds of it. And mango season in Fiji, $3 a heap. I've always wanted to eat mango in Fiji. It sounds like a weird statement, more than likely, but I mean, I've always wanted to visit Fiji. I know that mangoes are good over there, so surely I got to do both at the same time if I ever end up in Fiji. Have a mango party. Now, line out throw for Fiji here. After winning the penalty, they actually opt for the slightly slower option, methodical. Perhaps from Fiji is a good way of describing it. There's still 5 minutes remaining on the clock here. Thrown in nicely. In fact, I think the clock is frozen, as it is still saying 90, and even though the game is progressing forward, that was a dumb offload from Fiji. Unfortunately, it was about as brutal as I could say it, but just trying to go for the overhead flick pass when there was no one on his outside, and all it's done is given the ball back to New Zealand. Now, that's not saying Fiji can't get that ball back, because normally in the breakdown, they are lethal. But, and in fact, there's a knock on. So now Fiji will have themselves the scrum. It's in season from October to February. Size is large and round. Do like the sound of that. Now, currently says 9:10 on the scoreboard still, in terms of the time, but I assume we're up to about 11 minutes at this point. This game, and as the time starts to wear on a little bit, the nerves for New Zealand will start to kick in that little bit more. Now, another try for Fiji here converted could almost seal the deal. But if New Zealand can get themselves the turnover, could be a completely different story. Are you going to watch India versus New Zealand? Our World Cup semi-finals on the 15th of November? I certainly am. And it should be an awesome one. We were thinking about doing a live stream for it, but I think instead we might just watch it with the family. Kicked it behind by Ioane Tepa. Too easy. There was no one back there. Fiji score the try, and they are now 11 minutes 20 through this fixture. If New Zealand want a chance, they need to score pretty much now. Is there any soccer today or tomorrow? Says Ryan. Who are we talking? Like what games? Because I know that the A-League was on just before. Melbourne Victory versus Wellington Phoenix. But I don't know whether that's the competition you're thinking about or whether you've got a different one. The Premier League, I think, is on every weekend. What's your favourite sport? I would say either rugby or cricket. Favourite sport to play would be cricket. Favourite sport to commentate would be rugby. Actually playing cricket tomorrow. So hopefully I don't do terribly. I want to get a few runs. Wouldn't mind being able to score a few. And also, do you think New Zealand will win, says Tiff? I'll be honest. I think that last try, although they're looking at it in slow motion, I think they were trying to see if there was a knock-on or anything along those lines, but it's all good. The Fijians missed the kick, though, so there is a chance that this game could also end in a draw if New Zealand can convert if they score a try, but that is the biggest if that they've got in this game so far. Nice sell of the dummy from Shea Clark. Gives it out wide to Dylan Collier. Hasn't quite got the pace that he'd like to be able to break through over the Fijians. Ioane Tepa has left his feet, gives away the penalty now. Quick tap taken by it was, have to play a Cook Savage. New Zealand going off to the right. Ball's knocked backwards. Play on the Rohi Makavi. Black driven backwards well and truly there. Are you a batter or a bowler? I'm a little bit of both, but I've actually become more of a batsman. That's another knock on from New Zealand. And it will now be the scrum feed for Fiji. 20 seconds remaining. I think it's going to be a Fijian win here, ladies and gentlemen. At the start of the game, I said they shouldn't have been underdogs. And I think they have proven once again why in this contest. We have their mangoes in Fiji are the best. So are coconuts. I'm lucky since my uncle has both growing in the backyard. And Nandi says, Simran there, I can't eat mangoes. Is that because you don't like them or just because you don't like the texture, you don't like the flavour? And congrats on the 43k, mate. Only just noticed you totally deserve it. Well, the hard work finally paying off. Well done, says Jay Hayes. And there as well, and it is hugely appreciated, Jay. Of course, we still remember our old days of the BBL. Us chatting random, I guess, rubbish, but in a good way. So yeah, it is still greatly appreciated that you pop in every once in a while. Say hi, but Fiji kicked that ball into touch. And ladies and gents, they've got themselves another win over New Zealand. Now, these two sides could find themselves playing off in the final of this competition. Now, there's no trophy. Or is there? There'd be a bit of a trophy of some sort, I would think. And New Zealand lost because Tiff supported them, says Stephen there. And also, awesome Fiji, you're the winner, says Daniel Watson. And there as well. But 12 points to 5. The win for the Fijians. Allow the good old days, says Jay. And to be honest, that's why we do a few of these random hour live streams on the channel, or like the smaller competitions, because when the regulars show up, we just get, either 7 minutes or 80 minutes of just talking, not really talking smack, but just, just having fun outside of the commentary side of things as well. But a few GoPro videos, Jay, I'm working on them. There's probably about 6 that I can get ready to upload now, so that is ideal. You might even see me score some runs. Wouldn't that be something? And come on, mangoes, watermelon, and pineapple. Or come for mangoes, watermelon, and pineapple. Those are 3 of my favourite fruits, so I will be on the first plane of Fiji. See you in about, 5 hours? We have to have a fruit eating session. Now 12 points to 5. The winners of this contest, Fiji, ladies and gents, closing out their first day, but their second game on day 1. Can you play the rugby game again? Says Ryan, can you play the rugby game again? As in the match, or me play rugby? Because me no play rugby no more, because I get smashed every time. And I was out on the wing last time I played, but I'm not quick anymore. So that's a shame. New Zealand lost because Stephen did not support them, says Tiff in there as well. But, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to be almost the end of day 1 of the coverage for the Sevens overall. It's been an exciting day. We've had some upsets along the way. The cricket vlogs I enjoy. Always good for a laugh, says Jay. The thing is, a couple of the games that we've been doing as well have been after commentating the Rugby World Cup. So one of the games, I just wouldn't shut up. I just kept talking. I was talking to the umpire while I was batting. When I was at the non-strikers end, of course. And just having a chin wag with him. And, I just kept talking when I was in the field. I think my team's probably getting annoyed with me with how much I talk at times. But it's all right. I guess you could say it's good content. Are we going to break a leg in your cricket tomorrow, says Namani. Thanks very much. I almost broke my calf, or pulled my calf about 4 weeks ago. And I think it's still not great. And it's a bit of an interesting one. I feel like there's a backstory, and I don't know whether to save it for the video or tell you guys now. But pretty much the ground that we are playing at, I've never played at before. The last game that I watched someone play at was actually my dad about 15 years ago. And on that ground, he actually tore his calf muscle, and then from there had to retire from cricket. And I now have a dodgy calf, and I'm playing there tomorrow. So I feel like superstition-wise, don't really want to do too much running, just in case there's some sort of curse on the ground. But hopefully, fingers crossed, I don't end up breaking my calf muscle. We'll see. Worst comes to worst, I'll do a Glenn Maxwell. He did all right, didn't he? He was just chilling, not doing much running, swinging the bat, and hoping for the best. Nonetheless, do thank you all very much for tuning in, and thanks, mate. I hope to get to you tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. here. Day also back to the cricket now. Ka pai, says Ty. And when is the next rugby game, says Tiff. So the next game that we are going to be covering on the channel is, I can tell you some information. You hit a 50, didn't you? Was in one of your vids. I did. Since then, Jay, I may have hit another one. Up against children, of course, unfortunately, is just the only age group that we've got. But that is not my fault. I just play to the conditions. If we're facing children, we're not going to go easy on them. You're going to make sure you're whacking the ball hard. So the game's tomorrow. The first game that we're hoping to cover is Samoa. No, I don't think we'll make that one, actually. It's probably Fiji versus Australia. That is at 7:52. So I'm hoping to do that game first. And that should be around the time that I get back from cricket. So I should be able to do that contest. Then later on from that, we have got Samoa versus the Cook Islands at 9:20. We've also got New Zealand versus Australia at 10:30. And then we've got some at day 3. PM says Tiff. It is indeed. Yep. And someone had 100 in my game, says Ryan. And thanks for the commentary, says Namani. No worries at all. It is hugely appreciated you being here. For this one in 7:52 RPM, then sweet, says Star. So yeah, a pretty decent time. Yeah, 250s. Congrats, mate. Cheers for the stream. Take care and catch up again soon. Peace, says Jay. And yeah, it was great to see you. thank you very much for your mango fund. I can guarantee it's going towards mangoes because I've still got the picture of them on my phone, and don't they be looking good? Look at those. They kind of look small on there, don't they? Almost like apricots, but they say in the description they're large and round. So that's exciting. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you all for the next one.